All right, hello, welcome back to Unqualified Analysis, the show zero qualifications, zero credentials, and zero real plan on any given day. We're just going by the seat of our pants with just a general outline of what we're doing. And today, in that spirit, we have got, a couple headlines from the portal and recruiting up front. Then we're going to get you into a full preview of the week 15. Yep, 15, that's the number, slate of NFL games. Let's just buckle in. I totally off topic, but why does Twitter keep recommending or giving me ads for Tucker Carlson? What's it trying to tell me? Am I an early onset conservative in the words of early onset Republican in the words of Shane Gillis? I am listening to a lot of history, so maybe I'm there. Who's to say? But yeah, besides the point, I just saw it on my Twitter again, and I realized, damn, I'm getting a lot of ads for Tucker Carlson here nowadays. What the hell's going on? But neither here nor there. Either way, let's keep it to football real quick as I get a quick sip of this, caffeinated beverage. I already had a whole cup of coffee, so I'm fucking amped right now. Having a good time. Let's just get a little bit more amped, shall we? Oh, that's good. Good to juxtapose the hot caffeine with the cold, bubbly caffeine all in one sitting. I'm not going to go to sleep tonight. I'm okay with that. It is what it is. Either way, starting off with some portal, whatever, recruiting news. We got a whole damn long list of headlines, so I'm just going to blow through it. Going from top to bottom, just stuff that I kind of, jotted down as I was going on throughout the day. I guess a couple days ago, just figured I'm not going to go through the whole portal rigmarole like I did last year because I learned from my mistakes there. Players that I know the names of, that you probably know the names of, prominent players in the portal, and just general recruiting news. Major stuff mostly. Only a couple of those headlines in here, but let's go right down the list. First and foremost, Dillon Gabriel did the expected. Commits to Oregon in the transfer portal. I think pretty much everyone saw that coming after a certain point. So you go from Bo Nix to Dillon Gabriel, and I imagine Oregon's going to be right back where they were this past year and the year before, right on the doorstep of competing for national championships. We'll see if it goes a little bit better this time around, but they got their quarterback, if nothing else. And they've still got a damn good head coach in Dan Lanning, so have to see how that works out. Riley Leonard also does the expected. He went into the portal with a no-contact tag on him, which means he already had a destination in mind. And pretty much everyone, as soon as he went in the portal, said, yeah, that guy's going to Notre Dame. And lo and behold, he is going to Notre Dame. So you go from one portal quarterback in Sam Hartman to the next portal quarterback in Riley Leonard out of Duke. A little bit different styles of play, but honestly, if this heavy running game sort of style on offense is kind of what the MO is going to be for the Marcus Freeman-led Notre Dame, I mean, Riley Leonard may fit the mold a little bit better than what we saw from Sam Hartman last year. So maybe a little bit less on the attractive side, but that's pretty much going to happen no matter what. They had maybe the most good-looking man in all of college football as their quarterback this past season, but Riley Leonard, not a bad pickup in the portal, should keep Notre Dame right where they've been the last couple seasons. See if they can break through that wall now that they've got a full commitment to the running game from quarterback to backfield to offensive line. They are going to be losing Joe Alt. He declared for the draft today as I'm recording this, so on Wednesday. But still, they're an offensive line powerhouse, so I assume they've got guys waiting in the wings to replace old Joey Alt down there. Mississippi State, a little bit of Mississippi State news. This is going to be the Mississippi State block for just a second. We landed Blake Shapen, and may not be done with quarterbacks out of the portal. We'll have to see where it goes from here. But Blake Shapen, you may remember last at Baylor. I don't know. He didn't play in a particularly good offensive scheme at Baylor, so maybe they didn't maximize his talents. He'll certainly have a better situation stepping into the Jeff Lebby offense, at least conceptually speaking. We all thought that would be the case last year on the defensive side of the ball when we hired Zach Arnett to be the head coach, and it didn't quite work out that way either. So I'm hurt, folks. What can I say? I can't just guarantee that this coordinator who's never been a head coach is going to step in and just immediately have success on the offensive side of the ball. As crazy as that may sound. But yeah, even so, We got a guy in Chris Parson who was already on the roster last year. He's a true freshman, played sparingly. I don't think you start Mike White. I think Mike White's a backup no matter what at this point. But would I really want Blake Shapen over Chris Parson? I mean, not really. I feel like I would rather have Chris Parson in that situation. But this isn't exactly a guy that you bring in just shooing. That guy's the starter no matter what. I think there's going to probably be a quarterback competition in the spring if these are the two that we're going to be sticking with, either Shapen or Chris Parson. At least that's how I imagine that's going to be the options we're going to be going with, because I think we've seen enough about the Mike. Jesus, I can't even remember the guy's name. Not Mike Williams. Mike Wright. My goodness, I've got a bad memory. I'm just, post work, brain is mush. What else is new? So yeah, we'll have to see how that works out there. Like I said, I think there's probably going to end up being a quarterback, not controversy, just competition in the spring. And I got a pretty good feeling that the guy that's incumbent there is going to make a pretty good push to still end up starting. I like Chris Parson, and he really likes Mississippi State. He loves Mississippi State. Could have very easily entered the transfer portal with all the chaos going on, and he has decided not to, and really has been very outspoken about really loving Mississippi State. So if it were up to me, start the guy that's in there that really wants to be in there for the foreseeable future, and we'll go from there. Until that point, we'll have to wait until spring to see what happens there. But overall for Mississippi State, and this is again going to be patting myself on the back here. Well, not myself, but patting the program on the back here for a little bit. I mean, big recruiting weekend for Mississippi State. We got 2 4-stars out of the state, from out of state to commit. We got Michael Van Buren, quarterback out of Maryland. Yeah, quarterback out of Maryland. He committed 4-star, kind of a low 4-star. He kind of bounced between 3 and 4-star. I think at 24/7 Sports, he's still got a 4-star grade on him, and 24/7 Sports is kind of the gospel when it comes to recruiting, so I trust them more than just about anybody. And then also, we got Mario Craver, 4-star wide receiver out of Alabama, which, by the way, getting a 4-star receiver out of Alabama, not something that Mississippi State usually does. Big credit to Jeff Lebby there for selling the offense. Big credit to the recruiting department for selling these recruits, because outside of that, I mean, we got the inside track on 2 more in-state 4-star guys, obviously. In Starkville, Stonka, Braylon Burnside. He's a 4-star wide receiver, was committed to Mississippi State. Then all the fiasco with Zach Arnett happened. Kevin Barbay's offense looked like hot dog shit on the football field. Then he decommits. He's cheering for Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. Who the hell knows what's going to happen there? And then all of a sudden, Jeff Lebby comes in. He has a big recruiting visit this past weekend with Stonka Burnside and, a bevy of other high-profile recruits. Next thing you know, Stonka's no longer taking any more phone calls. He's shutting it down until National Signing Day when he makes his decision. I believe that's early January, something along those lines. At either National Signing Day or an All-Star game, or maybe they're on the same day. I don't know, but seems like Mississippi State has a pretty good inside track to get Stonka back on board. Don't want a repeat of the A.J. Brown thing. If you don't remember, A.J. Brown, current star receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, went to Starkville High School, was right down the street from Dan Mullen, and went to Ole Miss because Hugh Freeze was there, and Hugh Freeze is a master of shaking hands, so to speak. This was back before you could legally pay players, and he was just wheeling and dealing left and right, which, you know what, you gotta respect the hustle. Does still hurt, though. Does still hurt. They had DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown on the same team, and they still didn't do jack shit. So that's Ole Miss for you right there. I digress on that front. Let's hope to not repeat the same mistakes of the past with Stonka Burnside here. Got a pretty good feeling about that one. Also, Daniel Hill, which I checked on 24/7 Sports. Right now, the crystal ball's got him like 70% South Carolina and about 30% Alabama. No one's even thinking that Mississippi State has a chance, and it's feeling like we got a damn good shot to land him as well, a 4-star athlete out of the state of Mississippi. That put out a photo with 6 guys, most of them 4 stars, except for San Frisco McGee, I think is the guy's name. Like, big guy, 6'5", something like that. Was an Ole Miss recruit. Flipped him from Ole Miss. He committed over the weekend, too, to Mississippi State. So, big time recruiting weekend, and it could get even better on signing day. Also gotten a couple defensive linemen, JUCO defensive linemen in the portal, offensive line, some of them coming in as well. So it's starting to fill out, man. Still, I think the class is still ranked in the 30s. I want to say that could change on signing day though. So we'll have to wait and see. Loving how this new regime is getting the recruiting going thus far, though. Seems to be picking up right where the Arnett regime left off. They didn't do a whole lot of things well in the Arnett regime, but recruiting was one of them. So Jeff Lebby keeping on a lot of the guys that did a lot of the heavy lifting in recruiting in that regime, and those were all good decisions. So glad to see what they're getting on there. I'll kind of breeze through the rest of these because I don't have a vested interest for the most part. Oregon State quarterback prospect Aiden Childs. He follows Jonathan Smith to Michigan State. He will be the quarterback there in all likelihood. I don't know who the starting quarterback was there last year, but he's Aiden Childs was a 4-star in the portal. So that's probably where he ends up. Well, he's going to end up there in the starting lineup is more what I'm talking about. So there he goes. Got his quarterback there. Have to see how he fills out the rest of the roster, but got his quarterback that he's familiar with and has already coached for a good year or so now. Former UGA quarterback Brock Vandegrift entered the portal in the first place, which is kind of to be expected, but he's transferring to Kentucky. Going to be the second straight year that Kentucky has a transfer portal quarterback, going from Devin Leary to Brock Vandegrift. Totally unproven commodity. He didn't really play a whole lot at Georgia, but a guy that I'm sure going to Kentucky, they feel very good about coming in. We'll have to see how that works out. Also, Kentucky lands former Ohio State running back, guy who played a lot this year, Chip Trainum. Got a lot of time in the sunlight with Mayan Williams being out for an extended period of time. Travion Henderson also not playing for an extended period of time. Played some good reps, did Chip Trainum. He entered the portal. Now he is at Kentucky. Solid portal class for Kentucky. They always seem to do well in the portal. They don't necessarily go all out like Colorado does. No one really goes out like Colorado does. But they add some key pieces every year in the portal at positions of need. They did it this year, both quarterback and running back. So, I mean, Mark Stoops just quietly doing a solid job over there. Didn't get that Texas A&M deal for whatever reason, but should still keep it humming over there at Kentucky as much as you can expect it at a not necessarily a traditional powerhouse football-wise. Kyle McCord is likely to commit to Nebraska. Also, Nebraska is danger close to flipping the number one QB in the 2024 high school recruiting class. Dylan Raiola from UGA was formerly committed to UGA. Nebraska, his father is Dominic's alma mater. I don't know why the fuck. Nebraska is his father's Dominic's alma mater. My goodness, I can't read right now. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, Dominic Raiola, former offensive lineman in the NFL for many, many years, is a coach currently at Nebraska. Probably a good deal of NIL inducement in that equation as well. But for right now, not totally committed yet, probably a signing day deal. Dylan Raiola looks like he is going to end up going to Nebraska unless something drastically changes at the 11th hour, which this is the time of year where crazy stuff happens in recruiting. So we'll have to wait and see there. That would be obviously the biggest win thus far in the Matt Rule era. I'm telling y'all, folks, and it's not exactly a hot take because I think every smart college football mind has said this at least once. Matt Rule's going to get that thing going at Nebraska. If he can get it going at Temple and he can get it going at Baylor, he will absolutely get it going at Nebraska where he has more resources available to him. It is only a matter of time. Kyle McCord is a start as far as the bridge goes. Dylan Raiola is going to get them to the promised land. Maybe not totally to national championship level, but 9-10 wins, not out of the question whatsoever coming up here. I mean, you got to love. If you are a Nebraska fan, you have got to love what Matt Rule is doing there and building that program. That is what he does. He builds programs from nothing into powerhouses. He's done it everywhere he's gone except for the Panthers and extenuating circumstances there with the Panthers. Also, college coach going to the NFL. Not the greatest track record in the world of that working out, but especially under that owner. Whew. Oh boy, it's gonna be that's a tough ask. That's a tough ask. I'll just leave it at that. Also on the OSU front, a guy I forgot to mention in previous weeks, but has been in the portal, Julian Fleming, the number one receiver in his high school class, I believe back in 2021. He is in the portal as well. Currently a 4-star. Was a 5-star coming out of high school, obviously. 4-star in the portal, though. Still has not committed, but another loss for OSU. They've had quite an exodus in the portal this year. A lot of starters have gone in the portal, which that's the modern era of college football, unfortunately. You'll get that from time to time. Former Mississippi State QB Will Rogers. He is likely to transfer to Washington at this point. Nothing is official. Him and Woody Marks, actually, who I'm shocked that he even still was going back to college. I thought for sure he was just going to go to the NFL because he's a running back and he's taken a bunch of hits in his college career. But hey, more power to him. He's in the transfer portal. Washington will be hosting, I believe, this weekend, both Rodgers and Marks, which would be, I mean, it would hurt. It would hurt to see guys that have performed so well for my alma mater over the last several years go somewhere else and have success. But hey, more power to them, I suppose. They're not necessarily, well, Woody Marks was probably going to be in the plans within the Jeff Lebby era. Will Rogers, not so much. Wish all the best to him, though. I wish all the best. Either way, looks like Washington has a pretty good inside track, at least on Rogers. Wouldn't be shocked if they landed Marks as well this weekend. I hope it works out for him like Michael Penix did up there in Washington, though. That's all I got to say. Xavier Thomas is already in the portal. Like I said, Woody Marks already followed suit. Like I said, I mean, Xavier hurts me, not going to lie, but he did this last season and then decided to come back. Now he's gone for good in all likelihood in the portal, and it is what it is, man. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We got a bunch of receivers coming in, at least in the high school recruiting. So, yeah, could be a young, fun team next year. Would love to have Xavier on the team. He'd be the shoo-in #1 wide receiver, but hey, if he doesn't want to be here, I'd rather, as the great Mike Tomlin once said, we want volunteers, not hostages. So, hey, do what you got to do there, young blood. Do what you got to do. Florida star running back Trevor Etienne has entered the portal. Billy Napier, better hope to God that next year he wins. They've got a hell of a recruiting class right now. I believe they're ranked top 5 currently in recruits coming in. They got a big-time quarterback prospect coming in as well. You better get 8 wins. That's all I got to say. You better get 8 wins next year. Otherwise, they will fire Billy Napier. Make no mistake about it. It's going to be a hell of a recruiting class he's bringing in. I don't mean a damn thing if they don't win games next year. He got back-to-back 5-win seasons, and I'm surprised that Florida fan base hasn't run him out of town yet, because they've done it to better coaches in the past. So we'll have to wait and see on that. For right now, his star running back is in the portal, and that was really the most consistent player on offense they've had in the Billy Napier era at this point. Going to be a big sort of transfer portal pickup for someone down the line, though. Deion Sanders, he's catching a ton of flack. 4-win season. A lot of turmoil in the program. Sean Lewis got relieved of play calling duties for inexplicable reasons during the course of the season. Still don't understand that one. But you know, Sean Lewis already went to San Diego State. He's got a new head coaching job, so good for him. And in the meantime, though, he is quietly addressing the greatest position of need. Colorado get a 5-star offensive lineman to commit in the 2024 class. That's probably a plug-and-play for him right there. That's a tackle, by the way. You don't get a whole lot of those. And from Florida as well, which I would assume recruiting Florida is kind of Deion Sanders' bag at this point. He gets that 5-star commit. Also got a bevy of offensive linemen coming in. Got 1 4-star interior offensive lineman and kind of a bevy of 3 stars. A lot of them will probably be plug and plays, but if nothing else, building depth on that offensive line that they simply did not have last year, and they didn't have a really good offensive lineman at all last year. So we're quietly still a lot of work to do, both in the portal and recruiting fronts. But it's a good start. Before signing day in early January, we'll have to see if he gets any big time commits down there, specifically in the offensive line. Also, kind of looking at quarterback too. Shedeur Sanders has gone for the draft. So, well, I don't think he's actually made it official yet, but I would imagine Shedeur Sanders is probably gone for the draft. Though that being said, pretty deep quarterback draft this year, and with how the end of the season went, I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to be a first-round pick, so maybe he does come back for another year. I wouldn't be shocked if Shedeur Sanders decides to parlay it into another year at Colorado. But yeah, I think you got to look to the future there, specifically in the high school recruiting ranks. You got to get some sort of succession plan in place there for Shedeur Sanders. If he does come back next year, awesome. If not, you got to find out something. And that offensive line, obviously, you got to keep working on that. But good start. Like I said, former Miami quarterback Tyler Van Dyke, he was in the portal already. He is now going to Wisconsin. And I don't want to besmirch the kid's name, but low expectations here. Low expectations. And in all fairness, didn't have the greatest slate of offensive coordinators when he was at Miami. Back in 2021, he probably had his best season. I think it was like 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, something like that. And then he went from Josh Gaddis, who is to this year. I don't even remember who they had in there at offensive coordinator, but got benched at various points this year. Had injury concerns as well. Got Phil Longo, though, at Wisconsin. And if there's one thing that Phil Longo does, he can build the hell out of a passing game. And year 2 under Luke Fickell in that new offensive scheme. Braylon Allen already gone for the NFL draft. The roster kind of morphing a little bit into what Luke Fickell's vision is going to be with Phil Longo in there. Leaning more on the pass, less on the run this year. Hey, maybe Tyler Van Dyke breaks out. We'll have to see. He's not playing in the Big Ten West anymore. That's a division of a bygone age at this point. You're in the big bad brand new Big Ten here in the new era. But hey, maybe under this new offensive scheme in his 17th year in college football, Tyler Van Dyke can pull it together once again, reclaim some of that draft stock that he had at one point back in 2021. Also, right here late, Texas quarterback Malik Murphy will enter the transfer portal. I don't know if everyone expected this, but I certainly did. I mean, the Arch Manning era is here. Quinn Ewers might even stick around for another year. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Seems like there's a lot of rumblings that he might, which would make things a little teensy-weensy bit awkward, considering I think basically everyone down there in Austin wants to roll into the SEC era with the next young blood in line there with Arch Manning. Would make things very interesting if Quinn Ewers decides to come back to college football next year, because he's the guy that just led you to the playoffs, quite frankly. So I don't know if you can bench that guy. But also, you've got the number 1 quarterback in the 2023 class just sitting there and waiting. And he's apparently, I honestly don't know. He might be lighting up in practice, though. I have no idea. Interesting, very, very interesting situation there to say the least. But yeah, Malik Murphy is in the portal. Didn't have really a great showing down the stretch of the season when Quinn Ewers was hurt. I'll have to see what kind of transfer portal market he has. It's probably dwindled quite a bit from where it was back in the spring when everyone just saw, look at that 6'8" alien over there at Texas, who is just the largest man I've ever seen. Turns out, not the greatest quarterback in the world. So we'll have to see. But he is in the portal for right now. I wish the kid all the best. And yeah, there are a bunch more 4-star better prospects that committed, but honestly, my line of demarcation was if I've never heard of them, I won't be talking about them unless they went to Mississippi State. I encourage you to go to the 24/7 Sports transfer portal player rankings, though, if you are interested in a few more of those. If I didn't mention your school, I apologize with that, though. We just spent over 20 minutes on transfer portal. Let's talk about some NFL stuff, shall we? After I get a quick sip/gulp of this caffeinated beverage. Good stuff. That's disgusting, but that's okay. We're all a little disgusting. So I did put in 2 bets before the last episode. I'm just stupid, so I forgot to say them. Falcons and Ravens, both -3. Falcons are at the Panthers, and the Ravens are hosting the Jaguars. Those are in, and let me see real quick. Got to make sure the lines haven't moved. Falcons you can still get. You can still get at -3. And I believe, you can get -3 on the Ravens as well. So no harm, no foul. Hopefully that doesn't move to 3.5 by the morning when y'all are listening to this. But yeah, we still got those. So yeah, just stating those up top. I got 6 total bets for you. We'll get to them as we go down the preview here. But yeah, let's just gonna be doing it kind of like I do at the end of the usual episodes, where I just like go through a quick preview. Except for I'm gonna be doing a little bit more in depth. It is gonna be kind of gambling focused though, as far as the initial foray into it. Sorry, just cleaning up the nose there. That's pretty disgusting as well, but I digress once again. But yeah, gonna be, getting a little overview with the lines here, and then we'll go a little bit more in depth on what the matchup kind of entails. So starting off on Thursday night, we have got a barn burner of a matchup once again in the latest chapter of the NFL's campaign to kill Al Michaels on Thursday night with bad football. This time we have got the Chargers versus the Raiders. Chargers are +3 dogs in most areas. I guess it says FanDuel has a +3.5. I don't know about that. I've not seen that on my own, but maybe they do, maybe they don't. That's for you to decide and for you to investigate on your own. It's 3 at every other place, though, and this is actually one of my bets that I added late because Keenan Allen is out in this game as well. Also, Justin Herbert is out. The Raiders are favored by 3, and they've been poo-poo dog shit here recently. But with the depleted Chargers team that is already just quit on their head coach, I'm taking the Raiders at -3. I think they win this game. I think it's going to be a sloppy, low-scoring game, but I think the Raiders get the win. They get the cover at -3. So I am taking that bet. Over-under is currently at 34.5, and I came dangerously close to betting the under, but flashbacks of betting the under of 30.5 last week on Thursday Night Football just kept on hitting me, and I couldn't bring myself to do it. So, yeah, if you want to take the under, by all means, go ahead. That would certainly be the lean. But 34.5, just too low of a number, man. Too low of a number. And this might be a 17-10 final here, and I feel stupid for not betting the under, but I'm scarred from last week. Week 1, 5, and 1, I believe, last week. Just terrible. Bad, awful week of gambling. Still over 500 for the week, but awful. Over for the season rather, but awful week of gambling. So yeah, I'm a little gun shy to say the least on that front. However, 6 total bets, so shooters keep shooting, man. What can I say? Shooters keep shooting. So yeah, there you go. There's the lines on that one. As far as the matchup itself, Chargers just bereft of talent right now on the offensive side of the ball. It'll be Easton Stick starting, and that'll be Easton Stick probably through the end of the year unless he plays badly. And then you got to go to rookie QB, 7th round pick, I believe, Max Duggan, who just got elevated from the practice squad. So also out Keenan Allen in this game. I don't remember exactly why, but injured, obviously. He won't be playing in this game, so that's the only wide receiver really worth a damn on this team. Granted, you got Josh Palmer back off of IR, so there you go. I mean, just certainly not as good as Keenan Allen, but better than Quentin Johnston, which you want to talk about a disappointment. Boy, was I wrong about Quentin Johnston. He is a bad first-round pick. That's all I really have to say about that. Had a couple good plays last week, but boy, is he inconsistent catching the ball. Basically just a more highly touted Marquez Valdez-Scantling right now, which is not good. Not good to say the least. But yeah, right now we got just bereft of talent on offense. I think Austin Eckler's a little bit banged up, and he hasn't been playing well here recently. Hasn't been able to run the ball. Easton Stick is in there at quarterback. No Keenan Allen. Got Josh Palmer coming back off of IR, which is good. But the offense wasn't playing well with Justin Herbert in there. I can't imagine they're going to be playing well this time around. Also, to make matters even worse, you got one of the best pass rushers in the entire league coming off the edge at you in Max Crosby on the other side of the ball. This is going to be a tough matchup for the Chargers offense. I think in order to really survive this one, they're going to have to find a running game, I think. I don't know if you're going to have a quick passing game, and a running game is probably the way you're going to end up winning this thing. Running game kind of slows down the pass rush, and even with a slowed down pass rush, you don't want to give it too much time with Max Crosby on the edge there. So a quick passing game, especially with a quarterback that is, well, a career backup quarterback in Easton Stick. You're going to want to get that ball out fast. So you're going to have to be doing a lot of dinking and dunking in this game and a lot of leaning on the run, which the run game has not been doing well for them recently. So like I said, uphill battle to say the least, and you are short-staffed as well. If this would be a classic Keenan Allen game if he was in there with that formula in mind, because Keenan Allen just gets like 50 receptions a game, it feels like, on short plays, like I'm talking about, like slants, screens, all sorts of just tactical move the sticks kind of stuff throughout a game. Really, really good at that. That's a tough, especially with a new QB in there, that's a tough guy not to have. As far as the Raiders go, it's not like they're lighting the world on fire on offense. There's questions from Antonio Pierce this week on who's going to be the starting quarterback. Is it going to be AOC? I hope so, just so we can have the classic matchup of AOC eating the rich versus a hockey stick and Easton Stick. Classic matchup for the ages right there between politician and hockey stick. That's what I want to see. Could also be the handsomest man alive, Jimmy Garoppolo. Also, selfishly, I would love to. I'd love to see the Raiders draft Sam Hartman next year, just so they just have the most handsome QB room in the entire NFL. Selfishly, I'd love it. Absolutely love it. I think the ladies in Las Vegas would certainly love it. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo going out with, semi-young blood Sam Hartman. Boy, they'd tear up the strip. I'll tell you what, they would absolutely tear up the strip. But that's just fantasizing right now, just spitballing, so to speak. So right now, I mean, the Chargers defense, though, is going to give them some opportunities. Make no mistake about it. They've been, I guess, better of recent, but still not very good. And they've been facing some bad offenses. And again, this is not really anything different this time around. But the Chargers can't really run or defend the run very well, and they're going up against one of the best running backs in the entire league in Josh Jacobs. So I would imagine, really, it's been the formula ever since, ever since the interim took over. Antonio Pierce, I don't know why I keep forgetting names tonight, but yeah, since Antonio Pierce took over, the formula has just been kind of run the ball. Don't take a whole lot of risks in the passing game, and that can really win you this game, especially with the Chargers' deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball. That can certainly win you a game in this one. So yeah, that's why I like the Raiders in this one, and defensively, already went over that matchup mostly, but the back end isn't necessarily awesome, but you're not facing a particularly challenging offense in the Chargers, especially without Keenan Allen in there. Max Crosby, I feel like, might have a field day in this one, especially if receivers can't get open down the field, or even on the short yardage sort of routes. If they can't get open, Max Crosby's going to have himself a field day. I think he's gonna play very, very well in this one. That's really why I'm leaning the Raiders, because it feels like all of the signs are pointing to a Raiders win in this one. Well, we're going to find out on Thursday, though. It's, again, they are actively trying to kill Al Michaels. Al Michaels just got ousted from the NBC coverage in the playoffs, which, hey, if they want to pump up their Nepo baby, Ian Eagle's son, hey, maybe they're going to pair him with who's the other one? Jack Collinsworth? Yeah, get another Nepo baby in there. Jack Collinsworth and Noah Eagle. The nepotism special in the NFL playoffs broadcasting booth. I mean, that's just what NBC does best. So yeah, get both those guys in there. That'll probably be better than an all-time great announcer. But I digress on that front. I don't want to step on too many toes there, but yeah, Al Michaels, man. He doesn't deserve any of this. Doesn't deserve any of this. Getting paid a handsome sum, though, so can't feel too bad for him. But yeah, they are actively trying to kill Al Michaels. I will maintain that. They are. I mean, free my man Al. Free my man Al from the clutches of terrible football. You've had one good game all year, and that was like what was it? Seahawks versus Cowboys. That wasn't even supposed to be a good game. So yeah, I mean. Free my man Al. Free my man Al. All right, going over to the Saturday games. We got 3 of them this week. Now that college football is no longer a factor. I think you got a couple bowl games, but Get those goddamn pity bowls out of here. We got real live NFL football. So we got 3 games, 1 in each time slot as per usual. It's around this time of year when we start getting these Saturday games. This time we have got my boys starting the slate off at 1 p.m. versus the Bengals. At the moment, it is -3 in favor of the Bengals in most places. This is saying that FanDuel has moved to -2.5. So we'll see. I've said this before. The kind of Action Network's a little bit finicky on what the FanDuel numbers are. They're a little bit slow on updating them. So could be true, could be not. Do your own research. That's what I would encourage you to do in that situation. But -3 in most places. As far as the over-under goes, you can get a pretty good mix of 40s and 40.5s. You can get 40.5 at DraftKings, BetMGM, and yeah, those are the two. They're just multiple tabs for whatever reason on the Action Network here, but it's 40 everywhere else. I have no great lean on the over-under. It's kind of a low number there at 40, so conceptually, I think I would lean the over, but also the Vikings defense is playing very well. They've only given up like 1 touchdown, I believe, the last like 3 games. So I don't know. Going up against the backup quarterback in Jake Browning, I don't really anticipate that trend going backwards in any way, shape, or form. Granted, I am a little bit biased because I'm a Vikings fan, but Brian Flores has got that unit playing. He's doing some innovative stuff that's never been done at the NFL level scheme-wise with the way he's blitzing, doing zone blitzes as well, being really unprecedented amounts of aggressive there with the Vikings, and he's got a top 5 defense in the league to show for it. Someone's going to crack that egg eventually, but for right now, I am loving. I mean, that's one of the greatest coordinator hires of the offseason. Even better than Vic Fangio, I would posit, quite frankly. And yeah, exceeded my wildest expectations. So I'm happy as a clam there with what he's doing. But yeah, it's gonna be a good game. Gonna be a good game. I would lean the over. I think I would lean the over. Even then, though, I'm not betting this because I really don't have a great feel. But I would lean the over. 40 is a low number. As far as the matchup itself, Vikings offense versus the Bengals defense. Here's the thing. The Bengals have struggled, I think, the most in the secondary versus pass catchers. You know, not having those 2 safeties there that they lost in free agency. It has shown glaringly over the course of the season. But the thing with the Vikings is they're on their 4th quarterback of the season. Josh Dobbs got benched. Nick Mullins is going to be the starter in this one. Justin Jefferson looks like he is going to play. He's told the media that he is going to play on Saturday as well. A little bit of a scare with that chest, rib, whatever the hell injury it was on last Sunday, whenever Josh Dobbs threw a literal hospital ball to one of the best receivers in the entire league. Yeah, benched him for a good reason. But yeah, in spite of that, he went to the hospital. Ends up being all right. Came back to the sideline at the end of the game. So no harm, no foul there in all likelihood. But he should be able to play. That'll help the Vikings. But who's to say what Nick Mullins does? Is he going to be any better than what Josh Dobbs brings to the table? Do we see Jaron Hall at some point in this game? The Vikings QB situation kind of negates the deficiency in the secondary for the Bengals, I would imagine. And then on the ground, I mean, the Vikings don't pose really any threat at all. I think Alexander Mattison and Brian O'Neill weren't at practice today on Wednesday, at least not in the open availability, like media portion of practice. So it's if you're not practicing on Wednesday, it doesn't feel great about your prospects of playing on Sunday. You may remember in the Tuesday episode, Brian O'Neill was in a boot after the game, so doesn't feel great. He's a very good offensive tackle, and we're thin at offensive line right now. So got Christian Darrisaw in there, so that's a plus. But not having Brian O'Neill there, it will hurt if he's not in there. So that's a wait and see sort of thing there as well. And if you got Trey Hendrickson or Sam Hubbard, whoever happens to be coming off the edge, well, that's going to be a problem if Brian O'Neill's not in there. So hoping for the best. Also hoping Ed Ingram is back in there as well. I think he was out with, I believe, an illness last week. Could be another actual bodily sort of joint injury. I can't quite remember, quite frankly, because I'm a bad podcast host. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that. Hopefully we're a little bit more healthy on the offensive line this week. Ed Ingram's been playing better this year, so hopefully he's back in there on the interior. I don't feel like the Vikings are going to be able to score a whole bevy of points here, but it's all kind of incumbent on what Nick Mullins does at quarterback. That's the main thing. If he can play well, and if he can just get the ball to Justin Jefferson down the field, maybe able to score 20, 25 points in this game. And if not, it's going to be another rock fight. We're no strangers to rock fights this season after Kirk Cousins went out with that Achilles injury. So could be another one of those in store. Yeah, as far as, like I said, I kind of went over it mostly with the Bengals. I would anticipate, really, I think you still shift resources to the pass because the Vikings have been such a non-factor in the running game this year. And if Alexander Mattison is out, even more of a reason to shift resources to the pass. I think obviously you have to make special coverages for Justin Jefferson. That's just kind of the reality of the situation when he is in the game. But even outside of that, I think, playing a lot of nickel packages, even more, maybe 7 defensive backs at times in there, or 6 defensive backs. 7 would be aggressive, but 6 in there. Wouldn't be shocked to see a whole lot of that. So we'll see. We'll wait and see on that. I just think it's not really a game where you need to devote a whole lot of resources into the box with what the Vikings present in the running game. Offensively for the Bengals, this will be a different challenge than what they have faced over the previous couple weeks here. This is not the Jaguars. This is not who did the Bengals face last week? I don't even remember. Give me uno momento por favor there, seniors. Excuse me, I'm just getting you some elevator music while I look up who they played last week. The Colts, yeah, certainly not the Colts, certainly not the Jaguars. And the last time we saw Jake Browning versus a semblance of a good defense, it was the Steelers, and they scored 10 points. Granted, it was in relief. He did not get any starting reps, obviously, because that's the game that... actually, no. Joe Burrow went out in the Ravens game. So, yeah, that's a whole week as a starter in practice. Then you go up against the Steelers and you score 10 points. The Vikings have a better defense than what the Steelers had. So, it's going to be interesting. That being said... If the Vikings let Jamar Chase control this game, it is going to be a long one. That is the main thing that has given life to this Bengals offense, is the fact that they've got one hell of a wide receiver on the outside in Jamar Chase. He can absolutely wreck the defensive game plan for the Vikings. Luckily, probably going to have... It'll probably vary just based on what side that Jamar Chase lines up on. Mekhi Blackman's been playing very well. 3rd-round pick out of USC this past draft. He's really been playing well. Byron Murphy also playing well. And you got a just stable of safeties in the back end. Josh Metellus has played literally every position. I mean, not an exaggeration either. Literally has played every single position on the defense this year. Main bag is at safety. And you've got Harrison Smith, future Hall of Famer, back there who's still playing at the height of his powers. You got Cam Bynum back there as well. So you got good safeties over top and solid cornerback play. That has not meant a whole lot in the past when it comes to defending Jamar Chase, though. The Vikings have to make extra sure that Jamar Chase does not wreck this game. If Jamar Chase doesn't wreck this game, though, and you can get after Jake Browning in the pass rush, I could see the Vikings having a good bit of success in this game. I could definitely see them, getting Jake Browning on the ground, maybe getting an interception here or there, causing some havoc. This is going to be a Brian Flores special, I would imagine, on the defensive side of the ball. I could very easily see them getting a bunch of points if Jamar Chase goes off for like 140, 180 yards in this game, or I could see the Bengals scoring like 10 or 15. I could really see it go either way. as a Vikings fan, I would probably lean the way of scoring less points. But you never know when Jamar Chase is out there. You simply never know. Also, they got T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd as well. So it's not like the other guys in coverage are going to be just, slouching, slacking off. They've got their hands full as well. This will be a big test of the Jake Browning effect over the last couple weeks. 2 straight 34-point performances. Something tells me that is not going to be the story in this game coming up against the Vikings. Big test for both teams, quite frankly. Can the Vikings get back on track? And can the Bengals continue their push towards the playoffs? This will probably be the easiest game they have left on the schedule, and it's not exactly a cupcake either. So this is really a must-win for both teams, quite frankly, and I'm looking forward to seeing how both of them rise to the challenge in this one. I think that pretty much wrings all the juice out of it. Honestly, I have no idea how this game is going to shape out. I would love, as a Vikings fan, I would love to say the +3 is very much in play. But just based on how the Vikings have played in previous weeks with Josh Dobbs in there, I hesitate. I hesitate to say the least. My objective brain probably leans Bengals in this one, but I'm certainly not going to bet it. Even if I didn't have a vested interest in this game being a Vikings fan, I probably wouldn't bet it because there's just so much possibility for variability in this one because you don't know how Nick Mullins is going to play. You don't know how Justin Jefferson is going to play. What does Jake Browning look like against the Vikings defense? You got no idea. There's too much variability in this game, so I'm staying away from it. Betting wise, really on both fronts, both over under and spread wise. Let's move to the 4:30 slot as I continue to just gulp down this caffeinated beverage. $45 in too, so I probably got to step on it a little bit, but just getting through some quality previews here. Steelers at the Colts. It is pretty good mix of numbers here. Pretty good mix of numbers. I think it's 1.5 in most places. You can, for whatever reason, it's saying it's -2.5 in favor of the Colts at PointsBet. Which, hey, if you're looking to bet on the Steelers, PointsBet is your avenue of choice there. Everywhere else is -1.5. So I'm unsure of the validity of that 2.5. Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for them to be a full point apart from all of the rest of the books. But hey, do your own research. Like I said, Steelers on the road as underdogs. I think that this is usually a very good spot for Mike Tomlin. I think if you just bet on Mike Tomlin as an underdog, you've made a lot of money over the course of your career there as a gambler. So we'll see on that. See where I fall on that after we get through the preview. Over under is 42.5, and I'm staying away from that one because I could see the Colts scoring a lot of points. And the Steelers aren't facing exactly the most stout unit in the league in the Colts defense. So they've looked putrid over the last several weeks, or the last 2 weeks in specific, without Kenny Pickett in there. It could very easily turn around this week. We'll have to see what happens. But I suppose my lean would be on the under. The Steelers have a habit of mucking these games up a little bit. The defense hasn't played great here recently, but they could play good. I mean, it's not like they're playing world beaters. They got Gardner Minshew on the other side, so I don't know. I don't have a great feel on that one, so I'm staying away from that one here. Personally, I don't think I bet on this game. If I did, I mean, I'm out of my mind. So yeah, I did not bet on this game. So yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, so as far as the preview goes here, also if you're looking to bet the over, PointsBet's got a 42, so does Caesars, and that's where you're getting 42. Everywhere else is 42.5 if you're looking to bet the under. Happy gambling, folks. Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you got a problem. Anyways, Steelers versus Colts. Let's start off with, Steelers offense versus Colts defense. A favorable matchup. Haven't had a whole lot of favorable matchups here recently, but a favorable matchup, I would say. Colts aren't necessarily world beaters at stopping the run, and that's probably the best thing that the Steelers do is running the football. So that could be a little bit of a resurgence there. I don't think, The wide receivers haven't really played well. Mitch Trubisky isn't exactly a world-class passer. I don't think they have the horses to expose the Colts on the outside. But as far as the run game is concerned, I could see him having a little bit of success there, maybe scoring a few points that way in this game. I feel pretty good that the Colts are probably going to get something off of Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky always seems to throw at least one to the other team at some point in the game, and I just feel like the Colts are one of those well-coached ball clubs that might end up capitalizing on something like that. So between these two quarterbacks with Gardner Minshew and Mitch Trubisky, I feel like the one that makes the fewest mistakes will ultimately win this game, and it's going to come down mostly to that. I think otherwise these teams are roughly evenly matched. They're kind of similar squads, just well-coached ball clubs that are a little bit undermanned in a lot of areas. But as far as the offense goes, yeah, if the Steelers lean on the running game, they should do fairly well. Defensively for the Colts, they're going to have to try and find a way to stop that running game. Otherwise, they're going to have no success. And if they can stop that running game, really just put the ball in Mitch Trubisky's hands and see what happens. I think that's your best chance of survival there on the Colts side of the defense there. As far as the offense is concerned for the Colts, going up against a Steelers defense that has been kind of porous in the passing game here over the last several weeks. Maybe not quite as good of a Steelers defense as it has been in recent years. Still got TJ Watt going up against a middling at best offensive line. Would imagine TJ Watt's going to eat a little bit, especially against a quarterback not necessarily known for his mobility in Gardner Minshew. That's going to be a big X factor there. If TJ Watt can muck up the game, the Colts are probably not going to have a whole lot of success on the offensive side of the ball. And at that point, Gardner Minshew is probably going to throw you a few gifts into the secondary. I would imagine they're going to be sliding some protection over there to TJ Watt, though, so we'll have to see beyond that. But, and also, I have to wait and see on Alex Highsmith's health as well. I can't remember if he's definitively out for this game, but I think he got banged up in that previous game. Also, TJ Watt got banged up as well, so there's no guarantee he'll even be in the game on Saturday. Lot of holding pattern. If TJ Watt's not in the game, I would definitively lean the Colts to win this one because that's the one big-time difference maker they've got in the pass rushing department. I mean, Gardner Minshew's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he's even better when you don't pressure him whatsoever. So it's going to be a big-time look ahead, not look ahead, but big time wait and see, big time watch and observe sort of thing when it comes to TJ Watt's health and Alex Highsmith for that matter. As far as the secondary is concerned, played a little bit better than I think we might have expected coming into the year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Really, it's just, I mean, Joey Porter Jr. has played well on the outside. They are a young secondary, though, and they're not necessarily deep. So a guy like Michael Pittman, kind of in position to have a good game in this one. Kind of, a possession receiver, gets you a lot of receptions, not the most yards in the world. I think a guy like Josh Downs is going to have to step up big time in this game if they want to, move the ball offensively. But I think Michael Pittman's in position to have himself a solid day as well. Overall, like I said, I think a lot of this depends on the health of TJ Watt. If he's not out there, I would definitively say the Colts are my lean. Probably won't bet them, but that's my lean in this game. And if TJ Watt's not in there, I'd also lean the over at 42. Let's move on to the final game of the Saturday slate. Got the Broncos versus the Lions playing in Detroit. It is -4 in favor of the Lions in most places. You can get a 4.5 at PointsBet right now. So favorable lines if you're trying to bet on the underdogs there at PointsBet over the last couple games here. But yeah, that's -4. As far as the over-under is concerned, that is where I'm going to be taking my bets. It's 47.5 on the over in most places. You can get a 48 at DraftKings if you're trying to bet the under. We're not trying to bet the under, though. We are betting the over in this game, 47.5. That is one of my bets for this week. The Lions, I mean, they pushed last week, but they're on a hot streak of overs right now. So I'm going to be keeping on riding that one. And I think Sean Payton going to be able to scheme something up that takes advantage of that Lions defense, who has not been playing well here recently, and score some points. The Lions offense always seems to score points, and I think they'll continue to do that. Well, with the exception of last week, but divisional opponents, things get weird. I think they will end up scoring some points here versus the Denver Broncos. So I love that over at 47.5. As far as the game itself goes, let's look at the Broncos offense versus the Lions defense first and foremost. The Lions defense is just in shambles right now. They got one guy that can rush the passer in Aiden Hutchinson. They're not playing very well on the back end. I think they're slated to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back here soon, I want to say, kind of heading into the playoffs. Not sure about that. He tore his pec early in the season, so not sure the timeline on that. Certainly not coming back for this one, but I think at some point they're slated to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back. But like I said, not for this game, so not a factor whatsoever. Brian Branch can only do so much back there, and he's only a rookie, so he's still kind of a raw guy, kind of rounding into form. They're not very good in the secondary, and they've not been very good at stopping the run, and now they're not going to have Aleem McNeil in there either. I think they just put him on injured reserve. I want to see his ankle injury, something along those lines, so he won't be in there either. That's certainly not going to help. And what does Sean Payton want to do on the offensive side of the ball? He wants to run the piss out of it, especially with Russell Wilson still not really being that good, putting up good numbers, but that's just because Sean Payton is an offensive genius. We all know this. We understand this at this point. But he wants to run the hell out of the ball, and I think the Lions will allow him to do that with reckless abandon, quite frankly. They've done that. They've allowed teams to do that over the last several weeks, quite frankly, specifically with the Bears this past week. That was a big emphasis for them. Justin Fields, the backfield, all of it, they all got involved there against the Lions. So I think Samaje Perine, Javonte Williams will have themselves a solid combined game, I would imagine. And Cortland Sutton going up against that secondary, he's got to be licking his chops. He'll probably have another insane catch. Once again, I'd have to imagine that puts him in the end zone. And people just ask themselves, how the hell did he just do that? One of the best possession receivers in the entire league. I don't think he gets talked about enough, but at least once a week, he makes a catch over someone where you're just like, how the hell? Absolutely how the hell? I would imagine he's going to have one of those moments once again in this game versus the Lions. So yeah, I like the Broncos in that matchup versus the Lions defense. That's why I'm picking the over. Lions offense versus the Broncos defense. I am ashamed to say I have not followed a lot about how the Broncos defense has been doing. Just that they've been doing better here over the recent history since that rough start. Obviously, we all remember the 70-point game versus the Dolphins. They played much better since then. They're facing an absolute buzzsaw of a Lions offense, which it all probably kind of comes down to what Jared Goff does. He's been coming back down to earth, especially over the last 2 weeks they've played. But you still got a hell of a running game. You got two running backs that averaged over 6 yards a carry last week in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Both of them create massive matchup problems, certainly in the running game. In the passing game, especially though with Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a nightmare to cover. And then on the outside, at the very least, you got Patrick Surtain. That's a guy you could probably just lock in on Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you may have trouble finding open receivers elsewhere. Jared Goff is going to be tested in this one because I think when you got Patrick Surtain on you, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown eats in that short range sort of screen pass sort of game. But I don't think you're going to be getting a whole lot of downfield targets for him when you got Patrick Surtain on you, one of the best cornerbacks in the entire league. You're going to have to find production elsewhere. It's going to fall on guys like Jamison Williams, Josh Reynolds, Sam Laporta. This is going to be a big game for Sam Laporta, I think, as far as what he does, probably dictating the success. I think this Lions offense is good enough, though, that so long as Jared Goff doesn't shoot them in the foot, I think they will end up scoring a good amount of points. I like this game to be close. I think this is going to be a really good game to end off the slate on Saturday night. My lean would be the Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to keep it. I don't know if they're going to win it, but I think they keep it within 4 and, cover the spread. Probably not going to bet that. I already bet on the over. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, and I think that the Broncos are going to make it close at the very end. I think it's going to be a good game to end off the slate and lead you into the Sunday slate for sure. So with that, let's talk about that Sunday slate, shall we? Starting off with the 1 o'clock games. We've got the Bears at the Browns. -3 in favor of the Browns in most places. You got a 3.5 at Rivers right now if you're trying to bet the Bears, and I wouldn't blame you. The Bears are playing out of their mind right now, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Over under, we have got a pretty good range of numbers. Looks like FanDuel is still holding on. Well, it's saying 37.5, but there's also a FanDuel tab that says 38. So I'm just going to say it's 38. So you're getting either 38 or 38.5. You get a 38 at FanDuel and PointsBet at the moment if you're looking to bet the over. Goodness gracious. If you're looking to bet the under, I would, it's 38.5 pretty much everywhere else. Bet responsibly. I'm not trying to bet either way on that. I guess I would lean the over, honestly, because Browns defense hasn't been playing very well here recently. I feel like the Bears offense has been playing well enough to possibly end up covering that. And Joe Flacco's been slinging the pill, baby. Absolutely slinging that thing. So, I would lean the over. It's a low number, so what the hell? Why not? Unless some crazy weather comes in Cleveland, which is always a possibility this time of year. So, we'll see. We'll see on that. As far as the game itself goes, let's start with the Bears offense versus the Browns defense. This is going to be a big-time test for that Bears offensive line. Obviously, you got Myles Garrett out there. You got Richardson there in the middle and the defensive tackle. All the players on the front seven for the Browns. They got countless players out there that are, especially with Myles Garrett, able to rush the passer and get after the passer. I think the big question is going to be, 1, will the Browns get to Justin Fields? And 2, if the Browns do get to Justin Fields, will they be able to get him on the ground, or will he be able to break, contain, and make plays with his legs down the field? Because I certainly think, especially, this is the annual Luke Getsy epiphany that I talked about on Tuesday, that, oh my goodness, we have a quarterback that can run the football. So I think it's going to be a centerpiece of the offense, should be a centerpiece of the offense going forward. So right now, we'll see. I've said we'll see too many damn times in this episode, but what else is new? What else is new? I have a feeling that Justin Fields is going to be able to break containment here. I have a bad feeling about this Browns defense right now. For whatever reason, they just have not been playing well here recently. They gave up 30, I believe, to Jacksonville last week. They gave up 30-some to the Colts at one point as well. Very inconsistent, wildly inconsistent, and they are better at home. That is a fact. But I don't know. They just have not been playing well here recently. I don't feel great about this Browns defense right now, especially with Grant Delpit going out. Just signed a big time contract extension. 3 years, $36 million. Then he immediately goes out with an injury. I want to say they put him on injured reserve, but I could be wrong about that. Certainly, he's not going to be playing in this one though. So. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be an opportunity for Justin Fields to push the ball down the field and make some plays. DJ Moore, I feel like, is going to be a big time swing player in this game. If he has a big game and Justin Fields has a big game on the ground, they're definitely going to hit the over. I can assure you of that if that combination happens. And 2, I feel like they got a pretty good chance to win this game because I think they do have the. They do have the edge at quarterback. I'm under no illusion that Joe Flacco has turned into a different player at the age of 38. I think we kind of know who Joe Flacco is, but I think Justin Fields is a little bit better than Joe Flacco right now. Probably even more than a little bit. He's playing very, very good football at the moment. So I don't know. I feel like the Bears are in a good position to take advantage of what the Browns do. Offensively. We'll see. I need to stop saying that. But DJ Moore Justin Fields, I think they'd probably play well. What does the backfield do? What does, Roshan Johnson, Khalil Herbert, Deontay Foreman, what do they do? They're going to be running right into the teeth of a stout running defense, but a defense that I think they can get yards on. They've been running the ball very, very well here recently. So, like I said, I don't feel great about this Browns defense right now. I think the Bears are going to be able to have success offensively. As far as the Browns offense versus the Bears defense, this is going to be a big test for that running game for the Browns. They have an elite offensive line. We all know that, even with injuries they have sustained there, with Jedrick Wills and whatnot. I feel like they've still got a good core there on the offensive line. Definitely still a top 10 unit. Obviously, Wyatt Teller is a mauler. He just used, last week he used one of the Jacksonville Jaguars to block another Jacksonville Jaguar, blocking two guys on one play, and he helmet-to-helmeted two guys. Just violent throwing of a Jacksonville Jaguar. Shot-putted him out of the way pretty much on a big-time bump there on the offensive line. But they got maulers like that across the board on the Browns offensive line. And the Bears have been playing really, really well. Those two linebackers they picked up, TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, really starting to round into form there. Starting to play very, very well on that front seven. Big loss this week, and Ike Ngakwe is going to be out for the season with an ankle injury. But Montez Sweat's still playing well. Really good all-around defensive end. Career high in sacks as well there on the outside. Jalen Johnson, probably the best player on this defense, playing at cornerback right now. He'll probably match up with Amari Cooper on a lot of plays. The big question is going to be for the Browns, one, will you be able to maintain success in that running game against a stout Bears defensive front? And two, will you be able to push the ball down the field like Joe Flacco did last week? I believe it was 3 touchdowns that he had of 30 or more yards. And if he does push the ball down the field, will he give the ball to the team a couple of times? He has shown a propensity to do that here in recent years and really throughout the course of his career. So facing off against a really good cornerback in Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker coming off a really good game on the back end as well. Do the Bears take advantage of some of those errant throws from Joe Flacco coming down the field? If they can limit the explosive plays and they can kind of bottle up that running game to a certain extent, I think the Bears have a really good shot of not only covering the spread, but winning this game. And really, I'm not betting this game, obviously, because I don't have a great enough feel on it, but those stupid Bears, man, I think they got a good chance to win this one. They're on a roll right now, 5-8 after starting the season. Bad. I think they were 1-4 to start the season, and then you had the Tyler Bagent stuff going on. Since Justin Fields has come back in, it's looked like a different ball club, and Matt Eberflus has got that defense playing. I maintain that Luke Getsy is probably a dead man walking at offensive coordinator right now, but credit to Matt Eberflus and that whole team right now. They're playing some really, really good football, and I think going up against the backup quarterback right now in Joe Flacco, I feel like the Bears are going to end up pulling this one out. So that's my lean on this one. Not picking that, but that's my lean. Another matchup, Falcons versus the Panthers. It is -3 in favor of the Falcons right now. The Falcons are on my shit list. They have hurt me time and time again. But god damn it, if you're going to give me a 3-point line against the Panthers, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. It's one of my bets. I don't feel great about it, but again, if you're going to give me a -3 with a terrible Panthers team, I'm going to take it pretty much every time. Pretty much every time. And I'm not going to feel good about it, but I am going to take that -3 versus the Panthers in this one. And I, again, don't feel good about it, but it is what it is. So Falcons -3, that is one of the bets. That's pretty much -3 across the board, too. I think the books are all kind of in lockstep on this one. Over-under, you can get a 34.5 in some places. I think it's pretty much just points bet at this point. It's got a 34.5. 34 pretty much everywhere else. That seems pretty accurate. Boy, are the Falcons a disappointing team on offense this season. I'll just say that. And the Panthers are their own can of worms, but that's neither here nor there. At this point, that's kind of just the state of affairs right now. And I'll kind of keep it brief on the preview here. The Panthers are a bad football team. Just all around. They don't have a very good defense. They certainly don't have a very good offense. The Falcons should be able to run the ball on them, and if Desmond Ridder just does not shoot them in the foot with a .50 caliber sniper rifle on multiple occasions, They should be able to pull this one out, and they should be able to cover. Emphasis on should, because the Falcons should do a lot of things that they don't end up doing. So, I don't want to say it, but you know what I'm trying to say here. The Falcons... the Falcons have disappointed me on so many different occasions. I don't know why I'm betting them here, but I just don't learn. Shoot or shoot. I imagine shoot or shoot. So they should have success against this Panthers defense. Emphasis on the word should. And if they don't win this game, Arthur Smith is going to have, his seat is going to be boiling, just melting hot if they don't win this game versus the Panthers, because they, especially with a division race on the line, they need to win this game right now. Absolutely need to be locked in to win this game. On the Panthers side of things, defense. What are you going to do against this Arthur Smith team? You need to cause turnovers at the very least. Who was it? Jesse Bates on their team, I think they got at safety. Or was Jesse Bates on the Falcons? Either way, maybe it was Von Bell that the Panthers got. I think it was Von Bell that the Panthers ended up getting. You're going to have to make a play on Desmond. You're going to have to make Desmond Ridder be the Desmond Ridder that we've seen time and time again. Turnovers in the red zone is going to be paramount here. If you can get some turnovers in the red zone, maybe score off of some of those turnovers, because you know your offense probably isn't going to be doing a whole lot of scoring in this game. That would be a big edge for the Panthers and may ultimately be what wins them this game, if they do end up winning this game, which, boy, do I hope not. But it's strange things have happened when the Falcons are on the football field. I'll just leave it at that. As far as the Panthers offense versus the Falcons defense, I mean, the Panthers are just a great matchup for any defense, quite frankly. Their offensive line stinks. Bryce Young has been put in a situation where he is basically guaranteed to fail at this point. The running backs, Miles Sanders was supposed to be your big-time free agent acquisition. He's currently a backup to Chuba Hubbard, who was already there in the first place. So $8 million a year, well spent. Good job, Scott Fitter. You're doing a great job there for the Panthers right now. And you're facing a Falcons defense that has played well here. I mean, with the exception of last week where they let Baker Mayfield go right down the field. But up until that last drive, I mean, hell, they held Baker Mayfield to, I believe, less than 100 yards up until that point. Under 50% completion percentage for the game. So it wouldn't be out of the question to see them doing that against Bryce Young in this game. Bryce Young has not been lighting up the world by any stretch of the imagination. Just got to get after Bryce Young, and you got to sit back, and they're going to be dinking and dunking. That's basically what the Panthers offense does, because Bryce Young has not been able to hit people down the field. He's been under duress a lot of times, so just sit back, keep everything in front of you, let Bryce Young throw you one or two, and that's probably going to end up winning you the game. The formula for the Falcons to win this game is simply do not shoot yourself in the foot. If you can just not shoot yourself in the foot, you win, and you probably win by double digits, because the Panthers are so god-awful bad. It is hard to understate just how terrible the Carolina Panthers are. So, Falcons, please don't disappoint me. Just please don't disappoint me again. That's all I got to say on that. The Jets are going to the Dolphins. You get a pretty good mix of lines on this one. You get 8.5. In favor of the Dolphins, obviously, at DraftKings, Caesars, FanDuel, and Rivers, and you get a 9.5 right now at BetMGM. So, hey, if you're looking to bet on the Jets, go to BetMGM. I don't know. It's no definitive feeling. I mean, well, it is a definitive feeling. It's no definitive like data that I'm basing it off of. I just got a feeling that the Jets are going to keep this close. And I kind of. Oh, excuse me. I kind of went over it in the previous episode, but I'll get to that more when we get to the actual preview. Let's talk about the over-under first. 37.5 in, I'd say, most places at this point. DraftKings and PointsBet can get you 37 if you're looking to bet the over. I wouldn't feel great about betting the over in this game. I think the Jets have been fairly successful against solid offenses. They didn't do great last time these two teams played, but I think it was Tim Boyle playing the last time these two teams played as well. Maybe Zach Wilson has 2 good games in a row. We'll see. The Dolphins, pass rush-wise, have not been good, especially with Jalen Phillips out. I believe they signed Melvin Ingram, or they took him in on a visit this past week. They got problems on the defensive side of the ball, so I could see the Jets putting up some points here. I'm staying away from it. I don't feel good either way. I mean, the number is too low for an under, and the over. Are you really going to trust the Jets to score points? Are you going to trust basically anyone to score points against the Jets defense? I'm not on both fronts, so staying away from that on all fronts. Like I said, I feel like the Jets can keep this close though. Defensively, if they can just kind of bottle up the running game, we'll have to wait and see on the ankle injury with Tyreek Hill that he sustained on Monday night. Oh yeah, by the way, I totally forgot to recap Monday night, so I'll just do that here real quick. 2 upsets, and I went 0 for 2 on the bets. It was probably why I just blotted it out of my memory, but Dolphins got upset by the Titans in probably the most improbable way possible. Mike Vrabel, analytics guy, by the way, going for 2 when he's down 8. You know, make it a 6-point game, and ultimately they get the win on that extra point late. But I believe with 3 minutes left, they were down 14 points, and teams were 0-767 when they were down 14 points with 3 minutes left in the game. It is now 1-767 because the Titans ended up pulling it off in incredible fashion. Miami Dolphins unable to run the ball down the stretch, and Will Levis just put his nuts on the table, just exuding testosterone with his celebrations there late after the final touchdown pass. So yeah, you get an upset there, and then on the other side, Tommy Cutlets is playing out of his mind right now. White Vic running all over that Packers defense. They simply could not adjust to that read option that Tommy DeVito had there. They're just enamored that a white quarterback could run the football. Can you blame them? Can you blame them really? How often do those milquetoast guys ever run the ball? Huh? Who does that? Who does that? But yeah, the Giants end up getting the win. Jordan Love, inconsistent accuracy. The mechanics and the footwork have to get more consistent. That's the main thing. I'm not a real football coach guy, but even I can tell when Jordan Love is fading away from passes. He's falling through passes. Passes are going errant because of those sorts of things. You got to shore up the mechanics if you're going to be consistently accurate. And right now, Jordan Love is inconsistent at best in that category. Had some clutch plays, though, late, so, I mean, you can't hold it against him too much, but not enough to win the game. The Packers' hot streak gets broken. Tommy Cutlets gets his 3rd game won in a row. So, yeah, inspiring story there. Italian man going into New York. Obviously, that's a fan favorite right now, and his agent is out of a cartoon. He is a cartoon caricature of what an Italian guy is supposed to look like in an agent role. So, yeah, there you go. There's your recap from Monday night. 2 upsets, and I am dead inside because I bet on 2 favorites. Anyways, back to the preview here. Jets versus Dolphins. That's quite a delineation I just had there, but yeah, Jets versus Dolphins. Jets offense versus the Dolphins defense. Room for success here, to say the least. I believe Xavier Howard is a little bit banged up as well. They have not been playing well here recently, and it's a bad Jets offensive line. But the Titans' offensive line weren't exactly world beaters either, and they weren't able to get a whole lot of push against that Titans' offensive line. I think if Zach Wilson can keep it on the rails here, and he can play like he played versus the Texans last week, where he was lighting it up, just dicing up the Texans' defense, I think they can make some noise here against this Dolphins defense. They've not been playing well over the last couple weeks. Jalen Phillips going out has changed the tenor and the dynamic of this Dolphins defense over the last couple weeks, and if they don't get pressure on Zach Wilson, I think that's the main bugaboo for Zach Wilson is he gets pressure on, and then all of a sudden he starts running 50 yards behind the line of scrimmage, passing back across his body into the middle of the field for pick sixes. Without pressure, you don't see him doing a whole lot of that. So if they don't get pressure on Zach Wilson, and, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, the receiving core on the whole gets to work down the field, you could have some problems on your hands. You can give up a few more points than you would have expected against this Jets team. Also, I mentioned it briefly in the Tuesday episode. there's a real possibility that Aaron Rodgers can come back at some point this season, and if you win this game, maybe get Aaron Rodgers back for that Christmas Eve game versus the Commies. There is an argument to be made that if they win this game, they could end up going on a hot streak if Aaron Rodgers gets back in there, making the playoffs and maybe going on a run. The AFC is wide open, so if they can just survive this game, they can somehow find a way to win outright. They could have a playoff run on their hands, and I think the entire team is very well aware of that possibility. I think you're going to get a Jets team that plays hard and keeps this game close against all odds. I think that 9.5 is probably just entirely too many points. I'm a massive pussy, so I won't be betting on that. But I just have a feeling the Jets are going to be able to keep it close on the strength of that offense. The problems come on the defensive side of the ball. I think it all kind of hinges on what the health of Tyreek Hill is, right? The Jets defense, it's self-explanatory. I mean, they've got stars at every level. I mean, Quinnen Williams on the defensive front. You got C.J. Mosley back behind him. Quinnen Williams' brother, Quincy Williams, as well. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, the whole accoutrement of characters out there with the New York Jets. They have one of the best defenses in the entire league, and that has not changed all season, in spite of their offense being poo-poo dog shit the entire year on the other side of the ball. So, I mean, if anyone can stop this Dolphins offense, it is the Jets, but man, that Dolphins offense is tough to stop. And the one saving grace I think you could see for the Jets is it seems like Mike McDaniel does not trust that running game when it gets down into the red zone. And I feel like that's an advantage that the Jets definitely have in this game. When it gets in the red area, if they can stiffen up and get 3 instead of 7, I think they got a real chance to not only keep this close, but end up winning this game. And again, it all hinges on Tyreek Hill. If Tyreek Hill is playing and Tyreek Hill is playing fast, it could end up being a moot point because you get 45 yards over the top. Tyreek Hill's off to the races. You mean, get a couple of those and it doesn't even matter. Dolphins are probably going to end up winning this game. But if you get a little bit hobbled Tyreek Hill in this game, maybe you can key in on the run a little bit more. Obviously, Tyreek Hill puts the fear of God in your defense, whether he's hobbled or not. So you still got some shading over the top, and hope to God that he doesn't break one deep on you. Still has a pretty good chance of doing that. But if you can contain Tyreek Hill, which good luck, not a whole lot of teams have been able to do that. If you can, and you can, kind of key in on the rest of the offense there, contain the running game a little bit. Don't let Mostert or A-Chain break one off on you. Contain Waddle a little bit. Again, this Jets defense, they play their ass off. They are one of the better units in the entire league. I wouldn't put it past them. But again, this all kind of hinges on the health of Tyreek Hill. I think if Tyreek Hill is at the height of his powers, it ends up being a moot point because that's just how damn good the guy is at the end of the day. I would definitely lean the Jets in this game, though. I think the Jets have a really good chance to keep this thing close. So, Texans versus Titans. Titans favored. It's a pretty good mix of numbers here. You can get a 2.5 at FanDuel, BetMGM, Caesars, and then you get 3 everywhere else pretty much. I don't think I bet on this game. It's all nebulous, right? I don't really remember a lot of the bets are off the top of my head. This is not one of the bets though. This is not. I've got all but 2 of the bets out in the open right now. So we'll just keep it moving from there. What's the time looking at right now? Holy shit, we're at 1:21. This is, holy fuck. Holy fuck, this is going to be a long episode. I apologize, folks. I apologize. I'm gonna speed this thing up a little bit right now. Looks like C.J. Stroud's not going to be in. That's going to be a tough assignment for Davis Mills, especially off of Harold Landry coming off of a Defensive Player of the Week for the AFC going on. Not good there. Over-under is 38 or 37.5, depending on where you get it. I would lean the under in that one. And, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't think either offense is going to be particularly good in this one. I have no great feel. I feel like Mike Vrabel is usually in his bag against divisional opponents, and it feels like it's going to be one of those spots. Will you get another good performance from Will Levis? I think it's going to end up being the swing factor on whether the Titans get the win and they cover. If you get another good performance from Levis that you got on Monday night versus the Miami Dolphins, I think the Texans win this one with ease, especially going against Davis Mills on the other side. Davis Mills is bound to give you at least one on the defensive side of the ball. So that would be my lean there, and I would lean the under. I'm not betting it, but I would lean it. Giants versus Saints. You can get 6 in most places in favor of the Saints. It is 5.5 at DraftKings right now, and they seem to be the lone party on that 5.5 barge. So if you're looking to bet the Saints, go with DraftKings. I'm not getting in the way of Tommy Cutlets right now, though. Tommy DeVito is playing out of his mind right now, so I feel good about that +6. I'm not going to bet it, but I feel good about it, especially with the way they've been playing recently. And I just think the Giants are a better coach football team right now on both sides of the ball. I think the Giants are just a better coach football team between Dable on the offensive side, Wink Martindale on the other side of the ball. I feel good about the Giants. I don't know if they're going to win this one on the road, but I feel good about them. Over-under is 39 in most places. You can get a 38 at PointsBet. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. You can get a 38 in PointsBet. FanDuel's got a 39.5 if you're looking to bet the under. I would probably lean the under. This feels like it's going to be under all the way. As far as the Giants versus the Saints defense, this is going to be a different type of challenge for Tommy DeVito. I don't think you're going to be running wild like you were against the Packers defense. For the Saints, on defensive side of the ball, you got to take one away from Tommy DeVito. You can't let him be playing like he's been playing the last 3 games. If you can force him to turn the ball over, you can make him look pedestrian like he did when he first started starting for the New York Giants. You got a real chance to win this game and cover when it's all said and done. As far as the Giants defense versus the Saints offense, kind of a similar sort of vibe going on, where Derek Carr has not been playing well. If you get guys like Kayvon Thibodeau getting after him and putting hits on him, if you can kind of keep Derek Carr, he is absolutely like crack fiending for checkdowns. If you can just keep him checking down game after or pass after pass and be sound tackling, you can keep this thing low scoring. And if you keep it low scoring, anything can happen, quite frankly. So that's your recipe to success. And I think Derek Carr is usually good to throw you one. I'll give you at least one on the defensive side of the ball. So force a turnover, keep it mostly to checkdowns. You're in a good spot if you're the Giants defense. Get after Derek Carr as well. That will certainly help with the forcing checkdowns portion of this. Buccaneers versus the Packers. Packers favored by 3.5 across the board, except for Caesars, who have a 3. That would be my lean. The Packers would be the lean, quite frankly. Maybe it's just my internal biases. I don't think the Buccaneers are all that good. That being said, we'll get to it. We'll get to it in a moment. Over under is 41.5 in most places. You can get a 42 at PointsBet and DraftKings at the moment. I would probably lean the under. If for no other reason, then let's just talk about doing a little bit out of order here, but Packers offense versus the Buccaneers defense. Vita Vea in the middle plus A.J. Dillon at running back there for the Packers does not spell a recipe for consistent running success. I'll just put it that way. I don't think they're going to get a whole lot of yards at all on the ground. It's going to be a lot on Jordan Love in this game. And if Jordan Love is playing like he did last week against the Giants, I could very easily see the Buccaneers coming out here and smacking the Packers in the mouth and winning this game, just because I don't think they're going to get any push at all in the running game, quite frankly. So it's going to, especially without Christian Watson in there, I have questions as to how much momentum the Packers are going to end up getting in the passing game. You simply need better accuracy on a consistent basis from Jordan Love if you're going to end up winning this game, because it is going to be on the shoulders of Jordan Love if they do. I cannot stress enough, I don't think A.J. Dillon is in for a good game at all in this one. As far as the Buccaneers offense versus the Packers defense, hey, don't reinvent the wheel, man. They can't stop the run to save their lives. Just run it straight down their throat, folks. I mean, give it to Rachaad White. He's coming off of a 100-yard game versus a solid Falcons front seven. You run it back the exact same thing you did last week. Give the ball to Rachaad White. Maybe hit Mike Evans over the top a time or two. That's your recipe to success right there. And just hope to God that Baker Mayfield doesn't turn to a pumpkin. That's the main thing. He kind of turned to a pumpkin last week, and he still won the game because he had a clutch drive at the end of that one. Hit a couple Mike Evans, get a couple Chris Godwins in there as well. Maybe hit a Cade Otton for a little bit of flavor in there as well. You'd be in good shape just so long as Baker Mayfield doesn't shoot you in the foot. Packers defensively, get after Baker Mayfield. Somehow find a way to stop the run. I don't think you're going to be finding a way to stop the run. So whenever they drop back, it would behoove Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary to get the hell after the quarterback. That's the main thing in this one. You have got to get to Baker Mayfield, otherwise you're going to get diced up, I'm afraid. So with that preview in mind, I guess I would lean the Buccaneers in this one, but we'll have to see. This is just not a very good matchup for the Packers in this one. Just not a very good matchup at all. Chiefs at the Patriots. It's kind of a mix of numbers here. You get a -8.5 at FanDuel. So if you're looking to bet the Patriots, that would be +8.5. That's probably your best bet there. Also get that at Caesars and Rivers. -7.5 in favor of the Chiefs at MGM. And that's pretty much it. You get a -8 at DraftKings and PointsBet at the moment. Excuse me. Over-under is 37 across the board. So I would still probably lean the under because these two offenses have not been playing well, and they're facing off against two solid defenses, which was supposed to be the recipe last week in the Thursday night game, and they hit the over at halftime. So what do I know? But I don't know. Again, I'm going to breeze through this one because we are a full hour and a half into this thing, and we've got after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot for spending as much time as I have on these previous games, but it is what it is. Chiefs offense, can you get any sort of semblance of life out of the receiving core? You need to. You need to, quite frankly. Ultimately, the Patriots aren't a very good team. I don't feel like I don't feel like the Chiefs are going to cover this spread. I feel like the Patriots are going to keep it close by virtue of their defense. No one on that receiving core scares you, and I think the Patriots have a solid defense, if nothing else. Can you get after the quarterback on the Patriots side of the ball? That's the main thing. If you can get some sort of semblance of pressure on Patrick Mahomes, basically force him to funnel the ball to Travis Kelce on every single play. That's probably a recipe for success. If you can hold Travis Kelce to like 9 catches for 70 yards or something like that, good chance the Patriots are in a position to at least keep this thing close and maybe win the game. That's your recipe for success right there. And ultimately, just keep Isaiah Pacheco from running wild on you, brother. And you'll probably end up being in a good spot. As far as the Patriots offense versus the Chiefs defense, may I suggest prayer? Couldn't hurt. Couldn't hurt. I don't know if Ramondre Stevenson is going to be back in this game. I know he was out last week, and I think I don't remember, does he have a high ankle sprain or not? I don't know. He definitely sprained his ankle 2 weeks ago. I don't know if he's going to be in there or not. Even with him in there, though, yeah, I mean, good luck. Good luck. I don't think they're going to be scoring a whole lot of points. So, rock fight is your best chance of success in this game as a Patriots fan. Rock fight and rock fight alone. 49ers versus Cardinals. This line has actually moved since I bet it in my favor. So, joke's on me, I suppose. Currently, it's across the board -12.5 in favor of the 49ers. I bet the 49ers at -13.5, so joke's on me. You can get them at 12.5, though, so good for you. I think the 49ers are going to beat the absolute holy hell out of the Cardinals because that's just what the 49ers do. Cardinals are not a very good team. They're better with Kyler Murray, but still not a very good team. Over-under is 47.5. You can get 48 at a couple different spots. You can get 48 at MGM, Caesars, and PointsBet, and that's it. Everywhere else is 47.5. I would probably bet the under because I don't think the Cardinals are going to score a whole lot of points, but I think the 49ers are going to absolutely eviscerate that Cardinals defense. So yeah, with that in mind, Cardinals defense, the main thing you've got to do is, well, pretty similar to the Patriots offense. Prayer may help. I mean, have you considered praying to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? That's probably your best chance of success as an act of God. Otherwise, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy getting him the ball in very precise ways. Good luck. Good luck if you're the Cardinals on defense. 49ers offensively, have a day. Just have yourself a day. Cardinals on offense, if you can block that pass rush, which is a big if, and if you can get a big time performance just running the ball from Kyler Murray, I think you got a chance to kind of keep this thing close. Not a bunch of world beaters on that offensive line, I'll say right now. Paris Johnson looks good. Looks good as that rookie there, number 6 overall pick that they got in this past draft, but a lot of ways to go. And I got a good feeling that 49ers pass rush is going to have a good day. 49ers wise, force some turnovers. Obviously, stop the running game and get pressure on Kyler Murray. I have a pretty good feeling the 49ers are going to kind of dominate this game overall. So that's why I'm betting them. You can get them at 12.5. I got them at 13.5 because I'm stupid. So that's the pick in this game. But minus 12.5, like that even better. So yeah, go on ahead there, folks. Commanders versus Rams. It's 6.5, pretty much across the board at PointsBet. You can get a 6 right now. This is another one of my bets. I got the Rams minus 6.5. The commies are in free fall mode, actively in free fall mode. And the Rams played one hell of a game versus the very best team in the AFC last week on the road. So this time at home versus a bad Commanders team. This feels like a spot where the Commanders are just going to, or the Rams rather, are just going to step on the Commanders' throat, and I don't think this is going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be particularly close, so minus 6.5, lock it in there. Over-under is high, probably the highest of the week outside of Cowboys-Bills, who we're going to talk about here next. It is 50.5 in most places. Then you get a 50 at Caesars at the moment, and that's pretty much the only ones offering a 50 for whatever. Well, if you're trying to bet the over, that's the place to go, is probably Caesars in this one. I have a feeling that the Rams are going to end up kind of stifling the Commanders on offense there. So I don't know. I feel like that Rams pass rush, especially Aaron Donald, is going to feast against that Commanders offensive line, like most teams have done this year. And I don't know. I don't feel like the Commanders are going to score a great deal of points on this Rams team. So I like the Rams big time in this one. Cowboys versus Bills. We're just going to roll right through that because we're already an hour 35 in. My goodness, I've been long-winded in this episode, but it is what it is. Cowboys versus Bills. It's -2 in most places. You can get a -1.5 at FanDuel and PointsBet in favor of the Bills. Cowboys being on the road. Points in this game. I like a lot of points in this game. It's over-under is 50.5 across the board. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott is putting together an MVP campaign right now. Josh Allen is playing on a transcended, out-of-his-mind level of football at the moment as well. If they can, the Cowboys don't play as well on the road, especially defensively. So I think Josh Allen's going to have a big day on the offensive side of the ball. I think Dak Prescott is going to have a big day on the offensive side of the ball for the Cowboys. So this game just screams shootout to me, and I think that's what we're going to end up getting. Ultimately, biases come into play here. I'm not betting this game. But I feel like the Cowboys are just going to find a way to do it here, man. I feel like Dak Prescott can have another one of those 3-4 touchdown type of performances, 1 or less picks. I just feel like this Cowboys team is going to be really, really well seeded going into the playoffs. And then, again, prove it to me when you get there. But there's just a really, really solid team. I think they're going to end up winning this game and ultimately end up winning that division in the NFC East. So that's my lean there on that one. And just for the fun of it, lean the over. Love points in this game. Love points. Ravens at the Jaguars. Already kind of hit it at the top of this one. Ravens at -3 is a pick for me. So yeah, lock that one in. It's 3 across the board except for FanDuel and Caesars have a 3.5 now. So yeah, bet the 3 basically everywhere else. If you're looking to bet the Jaguars, either Caesars or FanDuel are your books of choice, I would say. So there you go. Over-under is 42.5 across the board. I'd lean the over on that. I would definitely lean the over. Ooh. And kind of off the beaten path here, but it's just coming across my my phone at the moment. Draymond Green suspended indefinitely after having a spinning back fist, or really not even a back fist, just a spinning forehand across Yusuf Nurkic's face last night. One of many different extracurricular activities that Draymond Green has done over the course of his career. So finally got an indefinite suspension on that one. That's crazy, but I mean, not like he hasn't earned it. He's out of his mind. He's out of his mind, quite frankly. But I digress on that front. We got way too much to get to in too small of a time. So yeah, I would lean the over at 42.5. I feel like the Jaguars defense sucks. The Ravens defense hasn't played fantastic over the last couple weeks, and especially with Kyle Hamilton, who's an absolute alien, banged up, MCL sprain. No guarantee he's going to play this week. In fact, I've kind of leaned to him not playing, quite frankly, especially a guy you want to rest up for the playoffs, a pivotal player in that defense. Jaguars have been good as well on offense. They just came off of scoring a 30-piece versus the Browns as well. I feel like 42 and a half is just a little bit too low, so I would lean the over on this one. But ultimately, the Jaguars have not been playing very good football here recently, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think the Ravens end up eating, and I think they end up covering that -3, getting the win in this one. They're just an overall head and shoulders better football team than the Jaguars right now. Should be a fun matchup, though, on Sunday night. I think you're going to get a lot of points in that one as well. In the final matchup of the week, we got the Eagles versus the Seahawks. Eagles are -4 in most places. You get a -3.5 at FanDuel at the moment. They're the only places offering a 3.5. It is for everywhere else. And what else we got? We got over-under is 47.5 in most places. You get a 48.5 at DraftKings. If you're looking to bet the under, it's a 48 at PointsBet as well. So yeah, I would probably lean the over. Seahawks, they torched not bad, but they torched Dallas's defense a couple weeks ago, and the Eagles have been struggling to say the least. So yeah, I think they're probably going to put up a bunch of points in that one, and the Eagles they've been spotty recently on offense, but I like them to round into shape in this one. I think they play a little bit better in this game. They're not facing a vaunted Cowboys defense in this game. A small reprieve versus the Seahawks defense. I think they get it right. I think they right the ship in this one, do the Eagles, and they end up getting a win. I guess I would lean the Eagles to win and cover. What I'm really hoping for is points here, so I'm leaning the over as well in this game. And yeah, there you have it. I kind of breezed through the last several picks because I realized how slow I was going. I apologize for that. Another hour, 40-minute long episode. What are you going to do? Sorry about that. Either way, thank you so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. That's it. That's it for you. That's it for this week. If you enjoyed, God bless your heart. You were meant for listening to this show, so go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening to this thing, whether it be Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, wherever you're getting this, go ahead, subscribe. We'll be much appreciated for that. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, follow me there. Link will be down in the description. Shoot me a DM there as well if you want to contribute to the show in any way, shape, or form, or if you want to go to the email, it's unqualifiedanalysis@gmail.com. That'll also be in the description as well. So yeah, with that, thank you so much for tuning in to Unqualified Analysis. As always, I've got no clue what I'm talking about. Let's round out the bets one more time before we get out of here. I got the Raiders -3 versus the Chargers on Thursday night because I am a sicko. Falcons -3 at the Panthers because, again, I am a sicko who doesn't learn. Broncos, Lions over 47.5 because points. We love points. 49ers -13.5 at the Cardinals. You can get that at 12.5 now because you waited and I didn't. Good for y'all. Rams -6.5 versus the Commies. Love that one as well. The Commies are in free fall mode. Love the Rams there in that spot. And the Ravens -3 versus the Jaguars. Just think they're a superior team right now. So there you go. There you have it. We got 6 bets. Shooters shoot. I have full faith that we're going to win all of them this week. So there you go. With that, though, one thing I learned in this beautiful week that was It takes about 84 years for Uranus to complete one orbit around the sun. There you go. With that, y'all have a good weekend. Enjoy the football. I certainly will be. See y'all on Tuesday, folks.